Welcome to Reality D times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Danica, and today we are going to be discussing the new season of 90 Day OG. Just as a disclaimer, I am not going backwards, and I will not be covering the final 2 episodes of the tell-all for B90, but honestly, I can't even remember anything that happened except for Joey's an idiot, had to turn back around to get his alcohol, and he he didn't cheat, but he did have sex with that other girl. There's that too. Brian is Brian, and that's all I gotta say. Niles is great, so it's fine. And I think also the whole Vanya and Yasko situation. Anyways, we don't need to rehash it. It is what it is. So, before we get into the episode, we'll do one quick announcement and hot goss. Announcement: Patreon is live. If you want to join, currently we are covering Jersey Shore season 1, I believe. Still, well, it's fresh. So yeah, season 1. And this month, True Crime Doc, we're covering the Ashley Madison documentary. So that's this month. That's what we're doing. So if you're interested, you want to join, you can look down at the show notes where there is a link to join Patreon. Hope to see you there. And now let's get into some hot goss. So this is Love is Blind related. This is from last season's Love is Blind. Ashley and Tyler are ending their marriage. No shit. Of course they were. Like, clearly she was saving face on the reunion. It's just ridiculous. So the reality stars who met and tied the knot on season 7 of the show have decided to split after a little more than a year of marriage. So, quote, after much reflection, I want to share that Tyler and I have been separated for several weeks and have now made the difficult decision to end our marriage. And this is what Ashley told People in a statement, quote, while I had hoped for mutual understanding and transparency in our relationship. Yeah, you think? It has become clear that our paths are no longer aligned, making it impossible for me to continue in this marriage. Saying, quote, continuing, I should say, quote, this was not a decision I made lightly, but one I know is necessary for my own growth and peace. While the chapter is ending, I will always hold respect for the time and love we shared. I kindly ask for privacy during this deeply personal time as I focus on healing and building a new future. Thank you for your understanding and support. You don't have my understanding, nor do you have my support. Well, I support you leaving his ass, but that's about as far as it goes. Though Tyler did not address the allegations that he owed money in child support and abandoned his children to be on the show at the reunion, since it was filmed before those claims surfaced online, he later spoke about them on the Dear Future Wifey podcast back in November. On the episode, Tyler claimed he, quote, wasn't active in his children's lives due to his rocky relationship with the children's mother. That's besides the fucking point. If you have a rocky relationship with her, that doesn't negate your responsibilities as a father. Anyways, let's continue. And he shut down allegations that he was an absent father because he never intended to be an active one. You are on your daughter's twins' birth certificate because y'all did the deed and she got pregnant. You may not be on the sons, but you're on, okay, you know what? We already know this. Quote, I want them to have their family and leave me alone. Noting that he simply felt like a glorified babysitter that the mother of their children need money from. Go fuck yourself. That's that. Let's move on to the next piece of hot goss. Brayden and Christina from Bachelor are officially husband and wife now. On January 21st, the Bachelor Nation couple revealed they secretly tied the knot on December 12th, 2024. They gave fans a sneak peek at their big day in a wedding video shared via Bachelor Nation's YouTube page. Quote, "We just got a marriage license. Nobody knows," Braden's remarked. Unlike their January 2024 proposal on the Golden Bachelor's live Golden Wedding special, they wanted to keep this relationship milestone a secret for a little while. Quote, "Nobody knows about this," he said, to which Christina added, quote, "except for the people driving by when we get married in the gazebo." The pair said "I do" in a small gazebo in front of a small lake. On the way to their venue, Christina filmed Braden carrying her 8-year-old daughter, Blakely, like a taco, as she was not feeling well after they picked her up from school. Luckily, Blakely was a trooper and served as the ceremony's flower girl and videographer. The couple kept things simple for their intimate wedding, as Christina carried white roses they picked up from Target. Christina kept warm by sporting a white fur coat over her wedding dress, which featured a large leg slit. She accessorized her bridal look with a diamond dangle earrings and white hair bow. Braden, for his part, looked dapper in a navy suit and light blue dress shirt. In their vows, Braden and Christina stated, quote, "As I place this ring on your finger, I give you my promise. From this day forward, I give you all that I am. You'll never walk alone. I commit my heart and soul to you for all the days of my life." The officiant also reminded the two that they would be, quote, "holding the hands of your very best friend from that day forward. These hands will work alongside yours, building your future. These hands will passionately love you and cherish and will be reaching for yours." After being declared husband and wife, Braden and Christina shared their first dance as a married couple next to the gazebo. Quote, "It's the best wedding ever," Braden exclaimed in the video. And if you need a reminder from where these two fit in the Bachelor world, Christina was on Zach's season, which was season 27 of The Bachelor back in 2023, and Braden was on Charity season 20 of The Bachelorette later that same year. And on December 2023, season 9 finale of Bachelor in Paradise, it was revealed that the two were dating. So the couple opened up about their decision to have a smaller wedding on Tuesday's episode of the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, with Christina explaining that a larger celebration would put the focus on their guests, saying, quote, "We want the guest experience, like if we're doing something, even if we just have people in town staying with us, we want to make sure our undivided attention is with them, making sure everything's perfect, the napkins are swans, and little things like that," which I know how crazy I get about that. And I know that you're the same way too, she stated. And so we would probably be attending to them. We love doing that. And that's the thing. It wouldn't be a chore, but it's like, okay, it would be less about us. So I love the way we did it. So that's that. That's that piece of hot goss. So congratulations to them. Now for the last piece of hot goss. This is Selling Sunset related. This is convoluted, but this storyline and the ins and outs of it can be sometimes convoluted. Nicole Young revealed her status on Selling Sunset after she paused filming the Netflix show due to a messy feud with Chrishell, so I guess the apology didn't stick. Quote, "I had a call with production 2 days ago during which they told me I have absolutely not been fired from the cast, but they chose to pause my filming schedule until next week in order to protect me from situations on set that have become very contentious." This is what Nicole told Us Weekly in a statement on January 23rd. "I'm still debating whether or not I want to continue filming in this kind of environment, especially with so many infuriating double standards." She continued, Selling Sunset has been a great opportunity and a wild ride, but it's not my life or identity. I have a big, beautiful life outside of the show, and thankfully, in the real world, my life and personality can't be edited or misconstrued to portray me negatively to fit into a produced storyline. The Netflix show put Nicole on pause after uh, Chriselle previously threatened to quit, according to a report by TMZ. An explosive incident allegedly took place last year between Nicole and other coworkers at the Oppenheim group. The cast dinner captured a reported confrontation between Nicole, Chriselle, and Emma, which did we see that? I don't even know anymore. Per the report, Nicole then filmed a one-on-one scene with Jason where he suggested she take a step back from the office. After the talk, Nicole has reportedly not filmed any new content for season 9 of the hit reality series. Us Weekly has reached out to Chriselle and Netflix for comment. The report comes out 1 month after Chriselle made it clear that she would never forgive Nicole and only film with her if she got big pay bump, saying, quote, "At the end of the day, obviously I have very strong feelings about her that I stand 10 toes down on, and I don't take any of that back. I believe every bit of it," Chriselle said in a TikTok video posted by Progesterone TV in October of 2024. "However, I'm also a businesswoman. I always will be able to change my mind if you add a zero. So listen, I hate her, but if you're going to pay me a ton of money to go say it to her face, then write the check." Boom. Mic drop. Okay, but that is it for the hot goss. Let's get into the reason that we are here, and that is a new season of 90 Day OG, Season 11, Episode 1. I love you and you. We're going to get to the reason why we have this title. Our first couple, though, before we get to that, is Jessica and Juan. I'm so excited to see them. She looks good. So we're in Torrington, Wyoming, aka Cow Shit, Wyoming. You apparently get used to the smell. I think the fuck not. I'm sorry, but if I'm walking outside and it's like, "Is that cow shit?" I think Betsy just let one loose. No, that's not my world. That's not my life. But this is what the kids say. And then with that, do we not see these kids, or the one kid anyways, stepping in shit, like just kerplunking into the shit? Like, what is happening? Are we just gonna let them then what do? Do you take the shitty shoes into your home? This is what I think about. I don't know. And now y'all, listen. Where I'm from, in good old Ontario, we have snowfalls. Okay, lot of snow. If you live in South Ontario currently, you know how much snow we just got dumped onto us. We usually have snow fights, right? You roll up those balls, you throw those balls, hope there's no ice in them. That's what I did. That's what I did as a kid. Apparently, in Cow Shit, Wyoming, you have cow shit fights. This kid is just throwing poop like it's a snowball. What? And meanwhile, Jessica's just sitting there being like, "Yeah, no, maybe don't throw the shit. Maybe don't do that." Do you want to stop him? Like, boys are boys, and I totally understand that. But my God. Again, did we wash his hands before we do anything else? Because he's handling the shit that came out of a cow's ass crack? Like, I'm just trying to understand. So, anyway, the baby, David, he is so cute. He actually does look like Juan. Like, he does. One, we see him during a phone call, and he's like, "I'm really ready to be a babysitter. And she's like, oh, yeah, do we want to tell him that he's not a babysitter? No, no, he's your father. We'll give him a pass, I think. I think. But anyways, we then get she's like, I really don't think he understands what he's getting himself into. No, because we do a full freaking scan of her living room and the tornado, the tornado that flew through her house and just ripped the house apart. Everything is everywhere. Listen, again, I understand you have boys, 2 boys, 3 boys. But I'm blaming it more on the 2 boys because the other boy is too small to be making a mess like this. And I understand. I get it. Totally do. But this would never fly. This would never fly. I mean, my brother was a tornado sometimes too and would just rip through things. It just never happened. You would clean up after him every night so that at least you could wake up to a somewhat clean house before he destroyed it again. And I get it, that's one boy, but it's just like, what is happening? Maybe this is one day's worth of mess. I don't know. But if that is one day's worth of mess, then no, the man has no clue what he's entering into. So we then see what I call the chaos of her morning routine. And again, we know when you have kids, and again, I don't have kids, but I have obviously witnessed a morning routine with my brother when he was younger. It's chaotic. It is chaos. You're making sure your kids are brushing their teeth, being clean, putting fresh clothes on, not wearing shorts in the middle of winter. Lord. And then you have a small baby who obviously like the baby cries or whines a lot, I noticed. But anyways, you have this baby that whines a lot. You have the cow shit kid, Dawson, is that his name? I don't know. But you have him kind of rocking this poor baby. And the baby's crying. And he's like, Mom, he won't stop crying. Do you think it's because you're rocking him so aggressively that he's like, just leave me alone? I wonder if he would have stopped crying to some extent if you stopped rocking him so aggressively. He's probably thinking, I'm about to barf. I don't know. But anyways, she does come in and save the day somewhat. And then you see them going out. She's like, okay, you guys go and buckle up. I'm coming. And she, ugh, poor thing. And then, doesn't she then not say, with all of this chaos that she has to deal with every morning to get herself out of the house, the kids ready for school, the baby probably ready to go to daycare, she herself has to get ready for work. Y'all, what does she do? She is a mental health counselor in a private practice. Who's her counselor? Because Jesus. I mean, again, everyone has their moments, everyone has their jobs, but it's just like, what? Like, kudos to her. Incredible. Do the thing that most of us can't do. But I just, seeing the chaos, and then what do you have to woosah before you start helping other people? Poor thing. Anyways, so then we're seeing her going shopping for him because obviously he's not coming in with proper attire for winters in Wyoming. And we see, I can't remember their names, didn't catch their names. I think one is Amanda or something. I don't even know. But we see the friend that we saw during Love in Paradise. We see his other friend, who apparently is the office assistant at her company. Mm. And the friend, well, technically both friends, but the one friend who we've seen before, she's like, you know, still not over the fact that this woman messaged him and like, said that they hooked up. Like, I'm not over it. Like, I feel like she deserves better than what she's getting. Like, I still have questions, and trust me, I don't think he's expecting it. But I'm gonna get my answers, bitch. Can we let it go? Because they've already hashed it out. We saw the episode. They already hashed out. He said nothing happened. Whether that's true or not, we'll never know. But they've already talked about it. My girl has now had a baby. Okay. He's coming. They're getting married. And the ship gone done sailed. And she literally is like, I just want to move on now. No relationship is perfect. And she's being fairly realistic of, if there's a will, there's a way if he wants to cheat. And she's like, I just want to move on now. Allow her to do so. Like, I understand you're her friends, you care for her, you want her to have the best. I get it. Totally do. But it comes to a point, and I've been here as well as the friend. No matter how much you may say to your friend, ugh, I don't know about this one. And again, I'm sure people might say the same about me. But you're like, I don't know. But it gets to a point where you're just like, you know what? You're gonna do what you're gonna do. You know your life better than I do, and you know your relationship better than I do. So I'm gonna step back, let you do you, and if shit hits the fan, well, I'll be here to clean the shit up. Did I see what I just did right there, and I honestly didn't mean to. But yeah, it's just let it go. And her one friend who we were just meeting for the first time is kind of like, well, I know you don't hold grudges, but I'll hold grudges for you. And it's like, okay, thanks, I think. And she also then says, too, is like, don't, like, you can forgive, but just don't forget. Who said she was forgetting? Who said she was forgetting? It's not about forgetting, it's about just letting it go and not harping on it a million times. Seriously, that one friend needs a hobby. I don't know. So then we're seeing them making some signs for Juan. The other thing that she mentioned while doing the shopping for him was that they were kind of hoping that they could ease him into winter because winter can be really bad in Wyoming. And she said they're hoping to ease him into it by having him come in the summer months. Unfortunately, that's not how it turned out. He's coming in December. Here's my question. I feel like you're doomed if either way, because either you have him smack dab in the middle of winter when he's going to freeze his everything off, or you have him coming in the summertime when he has to deal with the cow shit that gets worse when it's hot. I don't know what you do. Anyways, so yes, they're making the signs for him, and they said that they're heading to the airport the next day, and they're going to be staying in Denver, picking him up in Denver. She says because it's a 3-hour drive, that's why they're gonna stay there overnight and then drive back and do the 3 hours again. So when so anyways, yeah, so we switch over to him. We see him in Miami. He's 4 hours away from seeing them, and I'm like, don't look out the window because let me tell you, where you're headed, it ain't looking nothing like Miami. That's all I gotta say. Jessica and the kids get to the airport. Then we see he's here. When he shows up with the one kid, the cow shit kid, he's like, I'm going for it. And he just starts like running towards him and hugging. It was sweet. It was a sweet moment. And then the other one runs up and then she runs up and baby's involved. He's like holding the cow shit kid, and then you got the baby in the other arm, and then you have the other one like hugging him, and it's a group hug, and yeah, it was sweet. And they're like, okay, so we're gonna be heading to the hotel now, um, to get some rest. And he's like, question, um, are we getting separate rooms or like what's the deal? And she's like, no, we're gonna have one room because they're too young to have their own room. And he's like, okay, okay. And the producer's like, you want your own room, don't you? Tell the truth. You want your own room, don't you? I'm like, damn, producers. And he's like, it's been 2 months. Done. Totally get it. And she's like, well, we can't leave the kids alone, but we're going to have separate beds. And there's a bathroom. So there you go. Um, so yeah, that's basically it for Juan and Jessica. So it's going to be fun to see them. Let's move on to a new couple. Or is it more than just a couple? Because we got Matt and Minnie, I think is how he said her name. Because it is spelled like Amani, but I think it's a Minnie. So we're in San Diego with our couple, y'all, because she's here already. We're like, wait, what? How is, she's not from the States. I was like, okay, this is new. This is new, right? I mean, I'm playing here. I already know what's happening, but like, this is interesting. And they have 2 daughters. They're very cute. She's like, I'm a boss babe, and babe stands for boss, uh, someone else that she said, and I don't remember what it was now because I don't care. Anyway, she's not from the States. Did I catch this right? Did she say Indonesia or did I hear that incorrectly? Um, but, she's, they gotta say they're a very strong couple and all of this. And it's like, okay, so then what is happening here? Because we don't do strong couples on 90 Day. What? And they're like, okay, but there is this one thing, even though we're a typical family, there is this one thing that is maybe not as typical for them. So then we see her dressed up in a nurse costume, coming down and being like, oh, doctor. And you just see him on the bed with his doctor suit on and a laptop in his lap. And she's, doing the whole, role playing situation. And then we zoom in on the laptop and there is another woman on the laptop. She's like, oh, who's this? What? And apparently she's hot and she needs a house call. But anyways, her name is Annie and she is their girlfriend. Y'all, we got a throuple. We got a throuple. They talk about how they met her a year ago in the club, saw each other making out, and then the rest is on a need-to-know basis. She is from Mexico, and they are planning to go to Mexico to see her. And they said the trip is very big. It's an important trip. This is a trip that's going to kind of solidify where they're going to be going in this relationship. They want to see not just vacation Annie, but they want to see the real deal, the real person. And it's going to be, as I said, real life shit. So we then see the next scene with them. They've rented a boat and they're going to be hanging with some of their friends. Her friend Kelly and then his friend whose name I can't remember correctly. Kelly actually was with them in Mexico when they met Annie. Saw the whole thing unfold and is like, oh damn. They're about to do the shit. She literally saw their what is literally, we all know what happened. They fucked. She literally saw like that happen. That well, not that happened, but the they did stir the club too, y'all. They're like, here's your cab fare. We're gonna go. So they literally pulled like a mic in this situation. Oh God, I just know what I did right there. Anyway, they then mention that they're going to be traveling to Mexico and they say that they want to bring her to the States. But the only way to do so is to sponsor her on a K-1 visa, which they explain is the Fiance visa. And Kelly, in this moment, is like, oh, okay, I'm not an idiot. I'm pretty sure I know what fiance means. How does that work when y'all are married? Well, like Garrick and Danielle, they're gonna get divorced legally on paper, and one of them is going to marry Annie or do the paperwork in order to sponsor her and then, well, yes, marry her. And they're like, whoa, 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 this is a lot. And the thing is, like, well, it's just on paper. It's not a big deal. Nothing changes in our relationship. But here's the thing, a lot does change. Garrick and Danielle were stupid because all that Garrick mattered to him was being able to have Brazilian pussy. So, you know what I mean? But when you have kids, you have assets together, you have expenses together, you have built a life together, and then you're going to throw away that all of that away for something that's not necessarily set in stone, you know? And what does that mean if in case of anything? What does that mean? Like, what if you do separate for real, but you've already divorced legally? Like, what do you do? I think, like, it is irresponsible, personally, I think, when it comes to that, especially when you do have small kids. So I don't I don't understand. I don't I don't get it. Maybe there's more to it than I'm not seeing. Like, I don't work in the family law industry, but I'm just like, this doesn't feel like the right thing. I'm kind of with them on, at least on that side of things. Um, her friend then Kelly is like, listen, I know she's supposed to be like this boss babe and everything, but I know you sent her money. Oh shit. And she's like, well, that could have been me because there wasn't a lot of opportunities in my country, and like that could have been me, but it's not you. That's the thing. It's not you. So is it that she is needing the money for survival purposes or whatever the case may be, and you are just helping or you're offering this, whatever? Or is it that she's taking advantage? Like, you know what I mean? Or is it just something that you do because when you're in a relationship, this is something you may do? Not me, not I, but it's something you may do, right? So Kelly also says, like, it feels like this is very rushed because, like, it's only been a year. And I mean, a year's not a long time, or it's not a long time in terms of the fact that you're not together physically, which is something she says. But I mean, a year isn't like crazy. But she says, or they both say, yeah, well, I was only with him for 3 months before we got married, and we're still here. And Kelly says, yeah, but that's not the rule. That's the exception. So his friend kind of then says that, like, I'm more worried about Matt and whether or not he's doing this for the mere purpose of, I want to do this. It's something I want to do, and not because she wants to do it, because she does identify as bisexual. So, like, that's what he's more thinking about. And he does say, like, jealousy can, you know, play a role in things. And he knows this firsthand because he has been in a poly relationship with his previous relationship. And He says, in that situation, I'm seeing her build a connection with the third, having inside jokes and all of that, and he feels like the outsider. So, Amani is like, I get it. I'm the jealous one. And she's like, 3 is an odd number in a relationship, and someone is going to feel left out in that process. So, I guess we'll see. But that is it for them for this episode. Now we are with a returning couple. The one I've been waiting for the most, let's be real. Well, not her. We've got Sarper and Shekinah. Not a lot with them in this episode. But I'm like, is this happening now? Like, we're seeing them getting dressed and everything. And I'm like, is this happening now? Nope. Mm-mm. It's just for his interview. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. They're still in Turkey, y'all. So, yeah. They kind of talk about, like, the interview and the fact that he has to have the evidence and everything and the pictures. And she's, like, going through the pictures that he has. And she's like, yeah, we have a lot of pictures. About, like, I don't know, 70,000 of them. And, um, some of them were unusable because he says, and I quote, I think they would have thought that I was coming here for the porn industry. Okay. All right. Great. Good to know. Um, so she says to them or to him, she's like, don't harm them because they can see right through that. He says, okay, I will be like a candle. And she's like, don't do that either. That's weird. Finally. But don't take away the Sarperisms. I need them in my life, okay? So, anyways, while he goes off and he does the interview, Shekinah is just kind of wandering the streets of this really cute little town in Turkey. And she's kind of like, she kind of says, like, until I get him on American soil, she's not going to be convinced that he's actually going to do this. She feels like he can just say, I'm not going at any moment. And if that were to happen, or if the K1 visa doesn't go through, like, they probably wouldn't end up staying together. And she said, we tried having that conversation and we're just going to have the conversation. That's healthy. Yeah. So don't have the conversation about potentially not staying together. But anyways, she is kind of looking for some gifts for his parents, I guess, to soften the blow for taking their son away. She says she kind of hoped that he would have told them that he was having his interview today, but apparently he preferred to say nothing, I guess, until it went through. Not like they don't already know that he's potentially moving because he's already mentioned to them, oh, by the way, you know what I mean? Again, saw that episode. So, anyway, she says that she thinks the biggest struggle for him is the fact of being away from his parents. He is the only child, they're getting older, and he just doesn't want to be away from them. And as we know with this process, he won't be able to travel back to Turkey for, I mean, a minimum, maybe 2 years. So now she's waiting for him in the spot that they said that they're going to wait for each other. It's been 3 hours that he's been in the interview, and we see him coming, and he just looks somber and upset. And you would think in a normal situation that maybe it wasn't approved. I mean, spoiler alert, we know it was, but that it wasn't approved. And I'm like, no, that's the face he makes because it is approved. This man's face is like, fuck. Guess I gotta move to America, which is a face I swear I've never seen. Not really. This man is perfectly content staying in his home country. He has no desire to move to the States. It's refreshing. Anyway, that's it for Sarper and Shekinah. I guess we'll, not that we don't already know, but we'll know what happens. So, yeah, that's basically that. Let's move on to the next couple. So we have Stevi and Maddie. We see someone being painted like one of your French girls, Jack, nude. And this is Stevie. And she is, yes, painting someone in the nude. She says she likes to paint abstracts and recently nudes. And we do learn that she is a single mom of 2 kids. So she says, because like I have to pay the mortgage and feed my kids, she also teaches English on the line in order to do so. And we do kind of see him a little bit here, and I'm like, okay, he's cute. And she says, like, with him, he would come on with questions, actually, I guess in her mind, wanting to learn. And she says that he likes to check himself out a lot, and, he likes to be shirtless. And I've said, I like him shirtless. After they started talking, they decided that they wanted to see each other, but here's the problem. He is from, oh yes, I skipped past it. He's from Tehran, Iran. Girl, as a disclaimer, as a person who actually teaches English to people, Tehran, space, Iran, or Iran, or whatever the fuck. And you need to separate, because watching it the first time, I mean, I knew just by watching or reading, obviously, that he is from Iran, but my mom watching, she's like, I thought you were going to say Toronto. And I'm like, no, he's from Iran or Iran. And is it Iran or Iran? I don't think it matters. But, or maybe it does matter. I don't know. But, watching Pillow Talk, I think it was John who said the same thing. He's like, Iran. What? But the space in between there, girl, you teach English. Anyways, because there is this tension between these 2 countries, States and Iran, and because of that, she wasn't able to travel to Iran. She probably would have been killed before she even left the goddamn airport. So the only other place that he could travel to without any issue, obviously she can go to, was Turkey. So that's where they went. And she does seem to make it very clear that they have a very strong physical connection. Yeah. So after a week of them being together physically, he proposed. And after a year of waiting, his visa finally got approved. So he was apparently not going to be coming for a few weeks. However, a lot seems to be going on between the States and Iran. So the situation is kind of now is, if a war happens, the airport's going to be shut down. He is never coming. It's never going to happen. So because of that, he is coming to the States sooner. So she says, my family knows about him, my sisters, my mom. Oh, but wait, my dad doesn't know. And she says my dad is very much a believer of the red, white, and blue. And she worries about whether or not he is going to approve her being with a boy, she says, a man from a country that hates the States in particular. So she's like, listen, I need to tell him today. She's planning to go see him today because he's coming tomorrow. So, yeah. Her dad is going to fix some things in her car. We do learn he's a mechanic. And she's also going to be dropping this bomb on it. But she does say, she does worry because her dad is unwell. He apparently was diagnosed with some sort of lung disease. And she says, like, we don't really have a lot of time left with him. And I don't want to strain the relationship with my father with the little time I have left with him. Like, the stakes are kind of high with this, for sure. And that I get. Um, so she gets to his place, and we do, yeah, I guess I mentioned already, he's a mechanic, and he seems really great. I like him. And she tells him, I got something to tell you. He's like, is it good or is it bad? And she's like, well, remember that I went to Turkey and I met someone there that I like? And because I guess she keeps using the term someone that she likes, he's like, is it a he? Or, and she's like, yes, it's a he. Like, don't go there. And he's like, okay, okay. 'Cause he keeps saying someone, so I'm just trying to understand. And he's like, what's his name? And she's like, Maddie. And he's like, Maddie? That's a that's a man's name? And she's like, well, my name is Stevie. He's like, yeah, 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 you're right. And he's like, um, where is it from? And she says he's from Iran. And he's like, they hate us. And she's like, well, he don't hate me. He speak English. Very good, actually, because I taught him. I taught him how to speak English. Anyways, and he's like, yeah, he probably don't speak redneck though, does he? You might be a redneck. Like, shit. Well, no, I think the one terminology he knows from quote unquote redneck is y'all. So maybe that's something that he might know. Um, so he's like, so did you get it out of your system? Nope. Nope. And she's like, he is someone I do love, and he wants to spend his life with me. And he's coming tomorrow. And he's like, where? Where's he coming? And she's like, well, I'm getting married in 90 days. And he's like, no, you ain't. And he's like, didn't you just get out of a marriage? That's a burn. And and he's like, is he gonna make you wear a hijab? No, sir, because we don't know what that is. It's a hijab. But anyways, he's funny. I like him. But she says, no, he's not gonna make me wear a hijab. And he's like, you're gonna be his property. She's like, no, I'm not. He's like, yes, you are, because that's how they believe. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna be his property. It's not how it's gonna be. And she's like, the biggest thing for me was, like, that would make her cry was telling him and, like, her father. And she's like, anytime I would think about it, and he's like, what? You? He's like, what I do? Oh, that's funny. What I do? And she's like, he didn't do anything. It's just, obviously she cares about what he thinks. And she's like, I was just worried that you weren't going to be here. Like, you wouldn't stick with me, if I was marrying him. And he's like, I'm gonna be here forever. And that made me emotional, y'all, because shit. Because obviously, as we know, he's not well. That was just really sweet. And she does ask him, like, would you walk me down the aisle? And he's like, well, I don't know him. Like, what? And she's like, "Well, what if you do get to know him and everything? Like, would you?" And he's like, "We'll talk about it." And she's like, "Yes, sir." She's like, "I'll take whatever wins I can get, so I'm not gonna talk about it no more." But, guess we will see how that turns out. But that is it for them. Let's go to I think our final couple. Yeah, our final couple. And that is Mia and Mark. Yikes, guys. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So he has his own plane, his own airplane hangar. I mean, my God. And he says that he flies privately owned jets. He has flown some high-end clientele that he can't tell us everything, but we see him with presidents. We see him with Bill Clinton. We see him with who else did we see him with? I saw Clinton. Was that Reagan? I don't know. And we saw him with a vice president that could have been president, but it's fine. Y'all voted. It's fine. Anyway, while he was in Paris, he says he walks into a restaurant and sees this woman named Mina. She is 35. He is 58. Okay. Then he proposed to her, I think after, was it like I think they had a long courtship. Um, but yeah, he proposed to her. And after 6 months after the proposal, she was pregnant. Anyway, his daughter's name is Maria. Um, and we'll see them later. So we see him in Florida. He does live in New Hampshire, but he does go to Florida a lot. There's, a lot of clientele that wants to be privately flown. And his daughter also lives in Florida. Her name is Jordan. She's 27. Mina, he tells her, is going to be there in a few days. And his older kids did meet Mina and Maria in Paris for Maria's baptism. And she says, Jordan says that the baptism was very extravagant. Open bars? Why? Okay, listen. Open bars, obviously, for the adults in the room that could care less about this baptism. But open bar? Open for a baby's baptism? I don't know, man. Anyways, um, but yeah, she says it was extravagant, and she also says that Mina was 3 hours late to her child's baptism. That's just Black people for you. I don't know what else to say. Shit. She says that she also felt like her family just wasn't a priority to Mina. That apparently they all went out to dinner that last night, and she didn't come. So he's like, well, it's not an excuse, but it was a hectic night or weekend. And she's like, okay, come on now. He says, I didn't know any of this. She never told me any of this, which is interesting that you tell him this like a year and a half later when you're on TV, but hey. And, but they do have to get along, Mina and his older children. Because as he says, he's like, they're important. She's like, she's been in my life for a few years. Jordan's been in my life for 27. So obviously, like, y'all need to get along. And then, even though he literally just said they need to get along, does he not just drop the biggest bomb that he is thinking of having another baby? And Jordan's like, that's devastating. Well, she's like, this is going to change the whole family dynamic. And she's like, he should be retiring, not changing diapers. And she thinks that he is trying to, or she is, sorry, is trying to lock him down. And she's like, what about a prenup? But see, the thing is about a prenup in the situation is they have a child. How does that work? Like, I don't know. But he said, I do understand, but he is a little bit triggered by the terminology prenup because he said that after his divorce, he was with a woman named Jade, who was also younger than him, and all was really good. She was getting along with the family. They got engaged. He brought up a prenup because he had been obviously going through his divorce. So he was just triggered about the situation. And she apparently freaked out. And I guess the relationship was over. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically it. That's them in this episode, and that's the episode. So this season looks really good. The coming up on, or this season, I should say, looked really good. And I'm excited. But yeah, that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.